Okay, so this is on FFXIV discussion. And this was posted by someone on an anonymous account. Anonymous because I'd rather this not come back to me. It's a little embarrassing, just for the sake of anonymity, so that I can really spill my guts, which is good, because I'm reading it on Twitch. Also, I apologize. I'm on mobile. For backstory, I've been playing FFXIV since console launch, PS3, and I had no idea what I was doing. For the most part, it was my first MMO, and I never really learned how to play the game and discover rotations around Midas tier. That's kind of around the time I started, I think. I did raid first coil, but I would like to say I was carried. Takes a big person to admit that. Okay. You've already won some points from me by being able to admit that, dude. Anyway, around that time I had a community and was able to play with people that were helpful, and I learned. I love the idea of as long as you play your job and somewhat maintain your damage and try to hit buff windows, you are good. Here's another. This is another signal to me that this person knows what they're talking about and they know what they're doing. Because it took me years to understand why buff windows matter. Okay, you were good. Stormblood came and the game to me felt like it was at its best iteration. I understood mechanics, the fights were fun, and I knew as a player what I was doing and understood many jobs. I understood jobs to a point where I could just pick up and play and have fun. I remember Stormblood Astrologian. I really miss it. I really miss Stormblood Astrologian, man. That's the only, like, I like Astrologian now. I think they made it a lot faster, a lot smoother, a lot more responsive. It's like you're making decisions way more quickly. There's less bad feeling moments, but it was the bad feeling moments that made old Astrologian, like, so, that made the good times feel so good. When it made the highs better. Lower lows and higher highs with old Astrologian. But Windows, yes. Astrologian. Yeah. Anyway, fast forward to present day. I'm on PC. I really hit a wall with rating. I've been feeling like most of the jobs, if not all, are tough, and rating and parsing is not as straightforward as it was. I also can't understand where I'm going wrong, which is crazy because I think the game was harder in Stormblood. I get coached, but I still don't get it. I don't know if I'm getting old or what. I thought, wait, so getting old makes you bad at the game and it also makes time go by faster? What the? Getting old sucks. I thought it was initially burnout, where I played or foot too reliant on add-ons, but I realized I could do it without it. I really have I feel overall discouraged, and since I've lost a good group of people due to clicks and just incompatibility, I feel like I'm a little lost. So this is a big signal to me here too, like saying that you've lost a good group of people, you're not able to play with the people that you have been playing with before, and this can be pretty devastating to go through, especially if you were close to some of those people. I've been through that a couple of times. Someone please tell me I'm wilding out or something. This is, to me, my favorite game and I love it a lot. I've taken breaks, decided to just take a breather, to only come back and feel the same. If anyone understands where I'm coming from or sympathizes, please help me understand how I can get around this. I've messed with all DPS, I'm bad at healing and mad at tanking, but can't find one that's satisfying and accomplishing to play without feeling like a total garbage fail. Just a little sad. My friends are also going off doing their own things and I feel left behind. Is this normal or am I just getting old? This feeling is totally new to me. And confusing. So I really think that based on what I see here, that this is a person that has a pretty decent understanding of how to play a job well. Like, if you can handle playing any job in Stormblood, you're gonna be A-okay excelling in any job in Endwalker. Like, it didn't get harder. It definitely got easier. That's the trend. That's where we're going now. But it's so hard to get back up again after you've been heavily discouraged, and after you have like, especially it sounds from what I'm hearing here that like there was some kind of a rift between him and like friends that he had been playing with before, not able to play with the same people he'd been playing with, feeling like a little bit left out, and all of that is just playing into the psychology of like, I'm a garbage pail, I'm not good, I used to be good, and like it's like you can get into this negative self-talk and really shoot yourself in the foot, because you can't make progress, you can't really improve if you're constantly putting yourself down and undermining all the progress you're actually making. Maybe you're not even paying attention to the progress that you're making because you're focusing too hard on the end result. Yeah, I think it's easy to fall into this situation. If you've been through this kind of stuff, understand. But like, if you do focus too hard on that end result, being a 99 parser, being the ultimate raider, being the triple legend, you know, you can't, how can I put this? It's like you can't get there from there. Like you have to, oh, this is true for almost anything in life that you want to improve at, or that you want to see growth in. You have to embrace the journey. And that includes all of the pain and the mistakes along the way, and just like laughing off these mistakes. Actually, like accepting the learning process for what it is, which means a lot of failure, a lot of like not getting it right. You're gonna get it right. You're gonna get it wrong a million times before you get it right. And if you're already in a bad mental state, like if you're already feeling bad about yourself, then you will overly criticize yourself for making those small mistakes, even though they are absolutely necessary to growth. And you need them. You need them to learn. Like, actually, saw somebody DM'd me on Twitter the other day. Let me see if I can find it. I'm not sure if I can. They had asked me, what's a good starter savage to get into? And I said P1S. P1S is a really good place to start. And they said that, well, then if P1S is a good starter savage, then maybe I don't want to do it. I think I died more in those 2 hours than in my last 10 years of the game combined. And I think I might have a few less friends now. And my initial reaction to that was like, you shouldn't feel bad that you died so much in that 2 hours. Like, that's completely normal and necessary. Dying is how you learn. Making the mistakes is how you learn. You should expect to die a lot. Make a ton of mistakes while you're learning a fight. It's part of the learning process. And sometimes you're not always going to be surrounded by the most helpful people, like the most sympathetic people, the people that will actually be there to encourage you and not painstakingly point out every little thing that you're doing wrong. Like, sometimes people do that and they mean well, but it can be pretty devastating and discouraging to hear only criticism and not any kind of encouragement too. Like, sometimes it's easy to forget that you need to encourage someone as well, and it doesn't just go without saying that they did really well on this thing and this thing and that thing, but they need a little work on that other thing, you know? And people don't always naturally do that. So that might be something to keep in mind. Even if you're not like this person, if you just know people that you're rating with, like, it's helpful to let someone know that they did a good job in certain aspects. So yeah, but of course there's always going to be some people that will not be patient as you're learning, not be patient as you're trying to figure things out, and it's probably not going to be too fun to raid with those kind of people. I am very pro raiding, obviously, so I'm speaking from the perspective of someone that, like, I love raiding. I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I always try to encourage people to do it. That's my initial reaction to this kind of stuff. But I have to remember too that raiding is not for everybody. And there's some people that will just not get the same kind of joy out of it that I do. And that's okay. There's a ton of other stuff to do in the game that they could do instead. Maybe you just, like, don't want to do it anymore. In the comments, there was actually a lot of very supportive comments here. I was really impressed with FFXIV discussion subreddit because in the comments, people were being really kind and really helpful. Like the top comment, somebody was saying, it sounds like you're just putting a huge amount of pressure on yourself to play well and not be carried. It's spoiling your enjoyment of the game. I often felt like this in the past too. I used to be a world first chasing WoW player, but as I've gotten older, I don't have the time nor the reaction speed to play like I once did. The thing is that I don't know if FF14 requires like a super good reaction speed. I don't really, not to the degree that WoW does. WoW does rely a lot more on reaction speed. FF14 is more like, you can plan ahead much better. This whole job's built around that. Like Black Mage being the obvious one. But you can plan ahead and know what's coming. It's not like as reaction speed focused. You don't need Jedi reflexes to play Final Fantasy 14 extremely well. The point that I would take away from this top comment, apart from don't put so much pressure on yourself, which is really rich coming from me, because let's be real, like I put a shitload of pressure on myself. I'm the worst offender, which is why I'm talking about this, because I know how it is. Like I'm extremely critical of myself. I know how it is, but what I've learned, and I can just take an example from my real life. I used to have very, 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 very bad self-esteem, to the point that it was like hard to do anything or accept any kind, like to progress in any way, because I'm like, I'm such a piece of shit. I hate myself so much. I just can't, like, you can paralyze yourself with this mindset. But after I started exercising, I started running, and I started seeing like some incremental progress, I started to feel a little bit better about myself. And just being able to set some small goals for yourself. Like, oh, I can do this now. I can do that now, and I couldn't do it before. And that can be anything in your life. For me, it was like, oh, I can run a minute. I can run 2 minutes. But it could be something in the game as well. Like, oh, I couldn't clear that extreme trial before, but now I can get to phase 2. Or now I cleared that extreme trial. And like, allow yourself to feel good about that thing that you did. And just keep doing that. It will literally build up your confidence if you just go forward and not, talk yourself into a rut that you can't get out of. You just got to keep moving forward, right? And so the other thing that I would take away from this comment was like, maybe your priorities will change over time. Maybe you want something that's more chill. Like this guy is now in a chill FC/static that does a little bit of extreme. That's fine too. Oh, there was another comment here that I wanted to find. Oh, here it was. The fact that you even think about that stuff puts you in a league above most people. This is a paradoxical effect where people who are competent also criticize themselves the harshest and think of themselves as incompetent, which in turn enables them to be confident. This is an extremely good point. I would say maybe not 100%, but maybe like 98% of the people who are truly bad and cannot progress is because they do not self-reflect at all. Like they don't have any kind of self-reflection. They're not thinking to themselves, wait, is the problem me? They don't do that. That's why they don't progress. So you should already feel good if you've had some thoughts like, what can I do to do better? But obviously you can take that to an extreme where it's unhealthy for you, which is what we've seen in this post. But the fact that you're worried is usually a good sign. The fact that you're worried about doing well, it's gonna put you leagues above so many other people who just do not give a shit.